Rudolf Otto has a famous book called The Idea of the Holy, and in it, as you probably know, he defines it as the mysterium fascinans tremendum, which means the holy is a mystery which is fascinating and terrifying. As you know, if you've ever encountered God, I mean not just believed in God, but actually experienced God, you know that's true. It's fascinating, endlessly fascinating, but also terrifying, because it's God. And we see this mystery, this reality, reflected in all three readings today. Three different encounters. And what follows from the encounter, a calling, a mission from God. So let's look at them, these encounters. The first one is very famous, of course, the 6th chapter of Isaiah, the call of Isaiah. It's well known to us because we recite it at every Mass. Holy, 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 Lord God of hosts, heaven and earth are filled with your glory. And hopefully that's what we experience, but it's what Isaiah experienced. And his initial reaction was, woe is me, boing. But you might just as well translate it not W-O-E, but W-H-O-A. Whoa! What an experience. I'm a person of unclean lips. I live among a people of unclean lips. In other words, compared to the holiness of God, which is coming down upon me, all my words and thoughts are nowhere near at the measure of God. Reflecting his holiness, which means in God, his love, his joy, his peace. I'm nowhere near at that measure. But the angel, the seraph, and if you meet God, you're meeting angels as well, you hobnob with them. He comes and touches his lips with the burning coal. Fathers of the church saw that as a symbol of the Eucharist, for example. So when you're coming to communion with a burning coal, watch out. This has purified your lips, so now you are ready. And both Jewish and Christian mystics have interpreted the details of this story, along these same lines, of how it overwhelms our normal consciousness. The temple is filled with smoke. The doorposts of the temple shake. That's us. We're at the temple. We're filled with this smoke. It blots out every other kind of thought and awareness. It makes our whole being shake. And the train of the garment fills the whole temple. Even the very, not the essence of God, but the very reflections of God, just the energies of God, as some Christians have said, fill the temple. So we're just overwhelmed by God's presence. And the angels, again, they have 6 wings. Here again, with 2 they cover their bodies because our whole body is transformed. We cover their faces, their eyes, because our whole thought processes are called into question and transformed. And with the other 2 wings of the 6, they fly. We take off, fly into the heavens in contemplation. All these beautiful symbols of how our being is transformed and let loose, takes flight in God's presence. And so that burning coal, God is a consuming fire, as we read in the Hebrew scriptures and then in the letter to the Hebrews. As Isaiah says elsewhere, this is no campfire to warm yourself with and to toast marshmallows. He doesn't say marshmallows, but the point is it's not a cozy thing at all. It's a burning fire. St. John of the Cross has used the image quite a bit of that flame, the living flame of love, which God is, which inflames us so that we in turn eventually allow ourselves, if we allow ourselves to be transformed, we become that living flame of love. We're transformed into God, as they all say. That's our very destiny, as the images of God, as the reflections of God, eventually to be the vehicles of God, to be the copies of God, the icons of God in the world. But as John of the Cross says, we're like a log. We first have to sputter and turn black, and everything gets transformed and burned up that doesn't conform to God's holiness and God's love and God's light. And eventually, as John says, the log is indistinguishable from the fire. It's just like fire. And it's consumed in God's love. That's our destiny, which is fascinating, but terrifying. We're burned up. My eyes have beheld the Lord of hosts, he says, Isaiah. It's the old belief, you cannot see God and live. That's right. You're burnt up, you die. But it's only by seeing God that we can live. By God's life. God's life. Jesus who says, I am the life. I am the resurrection and the life. And if whoever lives in me can never die, because it's now divine life. But that transformation from our little timid, self-centered little life to divine life is quite a journey, terrifying and wonderful and marvelous at the same time. And then finally Isaiah, now transformed, now purified, according to the story, who shall I send? Oh, send me! It's not his ego speaking anymore. If it were, it would be a disaster. Now, that better not happen to any one of us, especially as priests and clergy. Send me! I'm great. I'm perfect. No. You'll be ready when you're totally burnt up and transformed into God's own energy and light and love and peace. But he says, send me. The me being now God, who works through. So there you can see that reflected in the other stories as well. Paul is a wonderful example who, encountering God on the road to Damascus, for example, he was blinded because he was blind, another symbol, and he was totally transformed by the over time, by that experience. And he says, I'm not even worthy to be called an apostle. His whole theology is it's not about your own works or your own perfection, it's about God's grace in you and faith in God's grace. This basic doctrine, which we haven't followed all over 2,000 years, we made it into a perfection game of morality. But the whole point is, his theology was based on his own experience, as all true theology is, of the fact that he was worthless before God. God had to take him up, in his resistance. He calls himself one untimely born in today's reading. The word in the Greek, atromity, means a miscarriage, basically. He compares himself to a miscarriage, someone who's misbegotten, and yet he becomes the begotten of God, shares in the very life of the only begotten, and is able to work in the world. Not I, he says, not I anymore. It's not my little ego that was way off base. The grace of God in me. By the grace of God, I am what I am. And that was the lesson he had to learn. So we have to die to that little self of ours and be, as Paul says to the Corinthians elsewhere, transformed from one degree of glory to another, even by the Lord, the Spirit, so that he can eventually say, as he does to the Galatians, and as we should eventually be able to say, it's no longer I who live, that little I, and disappeared, absorbed, transformed, transfigured, but Christ who lives in me. Christ who said, I am the life, I am your life. Paul experienced that. It says Jesus said himself, the grain of wheat, this tiny little grain of wheat, has to fall into the earth and die, and if it dies, it bears much fruit. Whereas he says elsewhere in the gospel, if you love your life, you'll lose it, but if you lose your life, you'll find it. You'll find your true life in me, as me. You'll find me who am your life. What a thrilling experience to be Christ's life. But how terrifying for our little selves if we cling to it. If you love our life in this world, you can lose it anyway, and you might as well just lose it in that transformative process of becoming Christ. So that's what Paul did. He allowed that transformation to take place. And finally, we have Peter. His first reaction, of course, is encounter with Christ and the miracle that he performs. Depart from me, Lord, I'm a sinful man. I'm nowhere up to being in the presence of such, or being, called. But Jesus says, do not be afraid. I will make you fishers of people. I will send you out on mission, but you have to be transformed first. And a couple of the phrases there are very important. Put out into deep water. That was actually the phrase from the Gospel that Pope John Paul used at the turn of the millennium. He says, in the next millennium, we've got to put out into deep water. And what that means is plunge into the deep abyss of God, the infinite sea of being, as the Father said. Lose yourself in God. Drown, as we say, as we do in baptism, hopefully. Put out into deep water. Get out of your depth and out of your comfort zone. Lose yourself in God. Like the drop of water into the ocean. And that's what we're called to do, to be. And in that process, the last word of the gospel, or phrase of the gospel, becomes very telling. They left everything and followed him. And it wasn't just houses and lands and wife and child and all of that, as elsewhere is said, but their very life. They left their ego behind. They left their sense of their self that they've had all along, their little self, what's called by some spiritual writers today their false self, the insubstantial self, the illusory self, which most of us live in and as. But how thrilling and how terrifying to let go of that and allow our true self in Christ to be formed, a metamorphosis, as the scriptures say, literally, transformed into Christ. We have to put out into deep water and leave everything behind. And it's not a once-and-for-all process. It certainly wasn't for Paul. He had to learn, for example, Lord, take away this thorn in my flesh. And God says, no. My power is made perfect in weakness. So Paul says, I will glory in my weaknesses so that Christ's power may dwell in me. In other words, by doing it wrong, we finally get Christ, understand God, not by doing it right. Become a Pharisee to do that. Try to do that. So it was a gradual process for Paul, and it's a gradual process for Peter. Look at how many times in the gospel he just doesn't get it. You know, he's called Satan by Christ at one point. He betrays Christ on the cross at the time of the crucifixion. But what does Jesus say at the shore of the lake afterwards, asking him 3 times? He doesn't say, well, do you believe? Do you understand my message? No, he simply asks, do you love me? And that's what will get us through. Not our perfection or our ideas about God or our convictions or our opinions, even about religious things, especially about religious things. But going out into the deep and losing ourselves in the abyss of God, in the abyss of Christ, and allowing ourselves to be transformed by his love. Do you love me? Because that's who God is. That's what we are. A reflection of God's love in the world. At least that's what we're called to. How thrilling is that? How terrifying is that? To be God's own love in the world. But that's what happens. And when we pass it through the veil of this life, as John of the Cross says, we're already in heaven. We're already living and radiating that life throughout the whole universe. That's what heaven is, and we're already starting it now. What else do we have to do? That's our destiny and our call. That's what we're made for. So that's why it's so important to surrender to this call of love from God, God's self, to find our own happiness, that's what we're made for, to bring happiness to the world, that's what the world wants and needs and is hungry for, but also to fulfill our own destiny. We're made for that. So in the end, it shouldn't be that hard. That's what we're actually made for. So just let it happen. Wake up for it. Wake up to it. Nothing more thrilling in life than that. Nothing more terrifying, but nothing more marvelous.